Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Gyanvapi Files are unraveling. Every single day, we are faced with a new revelation, a new twist. Today, there was a legal war both in Varanasi and here in the national capital. But before I tell you that, let me tell you about the drama that played out outside the judiciary. If you remember, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday the Hindu side came out and proclaimed Baba Mil Gaye. They spoke of sighting a Shivling inside the mosque premises. Hours later, the Muslim side and critics lined up to claim that the structure that was hailed as Baba was a broken fountain, a structure that was part of the wuzu khana. A war of words erupted in the temple town with objections coming in from both sides. Listen in.
आप कह रहे हैं बाबा मिल गए, कौन से बाबा मिल गए?
बताइए सोना
जिसकी नंदी प्रतीक्षा कर रही थी
वो बाबा मिल गए।
हाँ।
क्या आज का दिन कितना बड़ा दिन मानते हैं?
बहुत बड़ा दिन मानते हैं हम सब लोग। जैसे ही वह समय आया, मस्जिद प्रांगण हर हर महादेव के नारों से घोषित हो गया।
कल का आदेश एब्सोल्युटली इलीगल है। कोर्ट के पास इस बात की कोई सॉलिड एविडेंस नहीं थी कि दौरान कमीशन वहां पर कोई शिवलिंग तथाकथित शिवलिंग पाया गया है। क्या उनके पास आधार था? सर्विस कमिश्नर इज नॉट अवेलेबल ऑन द रिकॉर्ड ऑफ द कोर्ट। हाउ विष्णु जैन बिलीव दैट देयर वाज अलेज शिवलिंग? अगर वो कहते हैं वो अलेज शिवलिंग है, मैं कहता हूं दैट इज ए फाउंटेन।
Now, while the faith versus fountain debate plays out, today the Supreme Court put the onus on the district magistrate to ensure the area where the Shivling is claimed to have been found is well protected. The Hindu side is more than happy because their claim has been vindicated with that one directive of the apex court, or so they believe. Even though the court allowed namaz and wuzu to resume, something the Muslim side is rejoicing. Now the matter is sub judice, but there are some who are vitiating the narrative and poisoning communal harmony. Yesterday, we saw AIMIM chief declare that until the judgment day, this will remain a mosque. Today, some more provocateurs took the cue from him. Listen in to the kind of comments that came in.
बाबरी मस्जिद के सिलसिले में हमने सिर्फ इसलिए कि हमारे मुल्क में अमन व अमान बाकी रहे, वरना दुनिया जानती है कि बाबरी मस्जिद का जो फैसला हुआ है वो झूठा और बेईमानी पर मबनी है। लेकिन मुसलमानों ने सिर्फ इसलिए सब्र किया कि हमारे देश में अमन व अमान बना रहे, देश में दंगे और फसाद का माहौल ना बने। तो हमारी इस कुर्बानी को हमारी कमजोरी ना समझा जाए।
इस फैसले ने बिल्कुल 1949 का जो अयोध्या का जो फैसला था, जो आदेश था, उसकी याद ताज़ा कर दी। वहां भी यह हुआ था कि मूर्तियां प्रकट हो गई, रामचंद्र जी प्रकट हो गए।
तो पूरे देश की खुदाई हो और पूरे देश की कर दें बर्बादी। जब बर्बादी पर तुले ही हैं ये देश और जनता नहीं समझ पा रही है, तो हम बर्बादी तो रोक तो सकते नहीं। तो हर जगह खुदाई कर दे, पूरे देश की खुदाई शुरू कर दिया जाए।
One's individual faith and belief aside, there is reason for the Hindu side to believe this is a Shivling. The position of the Nandi bull found in the mosque complex gives them the confidence that the structure in question can be nothing other than a Shivling, because that's the way the Astha, that's the way temples are designed. And that's what faith is all about. Now, the critics may counter it, but perhaps they used to listen in to this explanation.
भारत की जो प्राचीन संस्कृति सभ्यता जो मंदिरों से जुड़ी हुई है, उसमें विश्वेश्वरनाथ भगवान का जो मंदिर है, शिव पुराण में भी उल्लेख आता है। स्कंद पुराण का जो केदारखंड भाग है, तो विश्वेश्वरनाथ मंदिर का जो शिवलिंग आज जो जांच के बाद पाया गया है, हमारे अखाड़े के सन्यासियों के द्वारा जब सन 1664 से लेके और 1670 तक इस मंदिर को ध्वस्तीकरण का प्रयास औरंगजेब के सैनिकों के द्वारा किया गया था, उस समय सन्यासियों ने शिवलिंग को लेकर के जल में प्रवेश किया था।
So, ladies and gentlemen, are there people who are deliberately going out to insult Hindu faith with their fountain frenzy? That's the legitimate question on the Newshour tonight. And that's the debate. Gyanvapi ke Mahadev. That's the hashtag and the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
And joining me tonight, Dr. Sambit Patra, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, Uday Mahurkar, author and Central Information Commissioner, Mujibur Rahman, advocate, Mohammad Farhan, spokesperson of the AIMIM, Maulana Sajid Rashidi, president of the All India Imam Association, Lokesh Jindal, leader of the Congress party. But my first question goes to Vishnu Jain, lawyer for the petitioner, joining me live from Varanasi. And Vishnu Jain, I want to ask you, there are people who are deliberately trying to hurt the sentiments of the Hindus by calling this a fountain, because the matter is sub judice. And if I can just read out what the Supreme Court has said today, we will hear the parties on Thursdays. We will protect part of this order where Shivling was found. But the rest of the order in points 1, 2 and 3 is stayed. Now I want to ask you, if the Supreme Court has no hesitation in referring to it for the moment as a Shivling, what gives them the right to actually call this a fountain? Is this a deliberate attempt to obfuscate?
Definitely, Navika ji, it was a deliberate attempt to do bedbi of our deity, and on the second day of the survey, I must point it out today on your show that on the second day of the survey, when I saw this well, I requested the Advocate Commissioner to get this videographed, and there was a lot of resistance shown by the Muslim side at that point of time. They said no, there is nothing in it, it's a fountain. And then apart from that, on the third day of the survey, the first exercise which was conducted was to get this water lowered down, and we immediately went through a ladder and we found that this is a Shivling right opposite Nandi, Navika ji, right opposite Nandi. 83 feet from Nandi is the distance between this Shivling and Nandi, Lord Nandi. And apart from this Shivling is 4 feet dia and around 2.5 feet long. From the Vajukhana, there are some stairs which are going down, and there is some more basement which has to be explored, for which we have given an application before the trial court today. But the point in issue is this, that the moment as a lawyer I saw that Shivling, my first duty was to get my Shivling protected. At that point of time, I cannot get into an argument with Abhay Yadav or the lawyers for the Muslim side. I cannot get into an intellectual debate with them. I cannot go and first explain them that, sir, please believe that this is my Shivling, and then only I can convince them and take an order. No, my duty was to immediately go and seek protection orders from the court, because Order 39 Rule 1 of the CPC provides so that if any property is going to be destroyed, court can pass ex parte interim order. And therefore immediately I had moved the Honorable Court, and the Honorable, my father Mr. Harishankar Jain had moved the Honorable Court, and the Honorable Court had shown indulgence in the matter. I am so grateful, because the apprehension is that this survey was concluded around 10:30, and apart from that at 1 o'clock they will come in huge numbers to offer namaz, and there is every likelihood for evidence to be tampered with and destroyed. So it's a duty that as a lawyer and as an officer of the court, that for proper adjudication of the case, suit property must be preserved, and that's what I have done. So
Vishnu Jain,
I leave it open for
Vishnu Jain, the video that has gone viral, is this the leaked video, as some people are calling it, a leaked video from the survey that was conducted?
Yes, exact. No, this is not the leaked video of the survey. This is not the leaked video of the survey. This is video which has been shooted, I don't know when. But I must tell you on your show that this is the same thing we saw. This is exactly the same thing we saw, and we had to reach this place by a ladder. And after reaching there, photography and videography was done. And today I am briefing you about all these things without touching into the other aspects of the Advocate Commissioner report and whatever we found in the disputed site, because I sought protection orders from the Honorable Court, and after the protection orders were given, it has to come in the public domain, and that's why I'm briefing you about it. But so far as the other aspects of Advocate Commissioner's survey is concerned, I have not said anything. But yes, this is the exact thing which we saw, and this video, this Shivling, is the exact thing which we saw there and which was present there on the spot.
Well, Mr. Mujibur Rahman, why would you call this a fountain if it is deliberate to hurt the sentiments of the Hindus? It can be, but otherwise, why would this be referred to as a fountain?
I will ask the same question. Why you want to refer it as a Shivling? It's inside a water tank. Have you ever seen a Shivling inside a water tank? No. On every water tank you will find such structures similar to and some different. They are just used to fill the tank. That's it. Why even no one has proved it as a Shivling, and you are just trying to make it
okay,
public
so why don't you
opinion.
tell me?
The problem.
Why don't you tell me? Have you been to this Gyanvapi Masjid?
Just let me just.
Have you been to the Gyanvapi Masjid? Have you seen this fountain?
Video is intentionally leaked. Video is intentionally leaked to make a public opinion so they can influence the court, just like they did in the Babri Masjid case. Just they want to make a public opinion, and they want to win the case without evidence, without proof, without facts, just on the basis of the opinion of the masses. That's it.
So this video is leaked, you are saying? It's been in existence on social media for 4 months. And this has been stated. This has been stated by several people from the Muslim side that this video has been circulating for 4 months. What gives you the impression that it's been leaked?
No, survey is leaked. That's why the Advocate Commissioner has been removed from the position, because he was leaking the information to the public for making a public opinion that at any cost, at any how, just consider it as a temple. That's it.
Well, Vishnu Jain wants to come in. Vishnu Jain, respond to Mr. Mujibur Rahman.
See, Navika, I'll just make 2 points. The first point is to show that this is not a fountain, that above this Vajukhana there is a teen shed, and that too not very high. So if this is a fountain, then the water has to go up. So then that was not the on-ground situation. Second thing, a very small stick was inserted in this Shivlingam, and it went just around 3 inches, not more than 3 inches. So if it is a fountain, there has to be entire water management system. There has to be an entire system for the water to come out. So that is the second thing. And the third thing which my friend just said is that the Advocate Commissioner was removed because he was leaking the information is completely incorrect. No information was leaked by the Advocate Commissioner. The Advocate Commissioner had appointed a cameraman for his assistance, and that the cameraman, Mr. R.P. Singh, started leaking the information to the media, and on that ground, please read the order, sir, which has been passed by the trial court today, and on that ground, the Honorable Court has removed the Advocate Commissioner. So this is the entire, I think, long and short of the matter.
Dr. Sambit Patra, what is the reason why there are different interpretations that are being made? कोई कह रहा है कि हम जीत गए, नमाज is being allowed, wuzu is being allowed, so it's a victory for the Muslim side. But they are completely ignoring the fact that the Supreme Court today has said that the Shivling and what we are calling the Shivling as declared by the magistrate should be protected. But they will not see that part of the order. They will say this is a leaked video and that is the ground for the sacking of the Advocate Commissioner, but that's not the ground on which he is being sacked. And in fact, there are people in the Muslim side who have gone on record just a few minutes ago on Times Now Bharat saying that this is an old video. So are there different theories that they are coming out with? But nobody is being able to explain how did the fountain work, on what science? Because it doesn't seem to have worked in the last 30-35 years, and there seems to be no science which can demonstrate that there was any water that was coming out of this fountain. So why are they still insisting on calling it a fountain?
Navika, good evening and namaste to all of you. Please give me some time. This is a historical debate and I'm fortunate to be a part of it. Navika, first and foremost, I bow to Mother India, such a beautiful country, and look at the tolerance level of this beautiful country. Despite the fact that every Indian, leave aside the panelist and leave aside the anchor of this show, every Indian knows the exact truth. Not just Nandi knows where Baba was. We all know where Baba is, where Baba was and where Baba would be. But yet we are all faking a debate. Because we have to show that we are so tolerant and we are such a magnanimous, secular country. Despite the truth, we all are faking a debate, number one. Number two, why confusion and why ruckus? 5 ladies of this beautiful country went to our judiciary demanding for their rights. The judiciary said, well, go ahead, have a survey, let's know the truth. The Muslim side appealed against it to the High Court, saying that we should not even have a survey, the lower court is wrong. The High Court said nothing doing, the lower court is right, we can proceed with a survey. The Muslim side tried its best to object to the survey to the extent that there were barricades, there were people physically trying not to allow the commissioner to enter into the campus. But despite all that, thanks to everyone in Kashi, that everything went well and we had a survey. And after the survey, whatever artifacts we saw, okay, well, 50% or more think that it's a Shivling, some think that this is a fountain. My question is, first and foremost, I have heard of the English saying, don't make a mountain out of a mole. But why to make a mountain out of a fountain? If it's a fountain, then well and good. There should be no confusion, there should be no ruckus. So in one breath you talk about it's a fountain, and in the same breath you talk about the fact, look, the Bharatiya Janata Party and the Hindu people, they are even not caring about the Places of Worship Act 1991. They are trying to change this masjid into a mandir. That means somewhere deep within you know that this is not a fountain. And what I really object to, what saddens me, Navika ji, is the fact that, well, some people in this country, despite the fact that this is sub judice, a large portion of this country today believes that this is Shivlingam, the Pavitra Shivlingam. It is the Dwadasha Jyotirling mein se ek ling hai. Still, despite that, why this stubbornness to have Wazu there? Why not protect it for a while? Let the courts declare that this is not Shivlingam, then we can proceed with our Wazu. No, we have to have a Wazu there, or else this country does not love Muslims. This is exactly what Asauddin Owaisi said a couple of minutes ago when he said that the courts of this country do not heed to Muslims. My question is, this is not about Hindus and Muslims. This is about India. This is about India. This is about the dharohar of India. What Kashi is and what Mahadev of Kashi is central to the Indianness of India. It is not about you being Ahmad and I being Patra.
वेल मोहम्मद फरहान, जवाब दीजिए, कयामत तक वहां मस्जिद रहेगी। भाई पात्रा साहब कह रहे हैं कि जब तक मामला कोर्ट में है तो वहीं पर वजू करना जरूरी है, और अगर वजू वहीं करना है तो ये फवारा चलता क्यों नहीं है?
ये संदीप पात्रा जी जाकर देखें हैं क्या मस्जिद के अंदर की फवारा चलता है कि नहीं चलता है? आप ये बताइए, संदीप पात्रा जी से पूछ लीजिए, क्या वो मस्जिद के अंदर गए हैं, देखे हैं कि फव्वारा चलता है कि नहीं चलता है? जो लोग वजू करते हैं वो फव्वारे के ऊपर बैठ के थोड़ी नहीं करते हैं वजू। आपके सामने दिख रहा है वो पूरा गोला राउंड है 25 बाई 25 का, तो आदमी बगल बगल बैठकर लोग वजू करते हैं। और दूसरी बात मैम, आपने जो पूछा है ना कि कयामत तक मस्जिद रहेगी, इंशाअल्लाह कयामत तक मस्जिद रहेगी। ज्ञानवापी में नमाज ता कयामत तक होती रहेगी, इसमें कोई शक और कोई शुबा नहीं है।
तो कोर्ट संविधान से चलेगा देश या आपके हिसाब से चलेगा देश?
मैं आपकी बात पे फिर आता हूं। आज जस्टिस जकी उल्ला खान साहब की एक राय आई है, उन्होंने एक टीवी चैनल पर दिया है कि प्लेसेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट 1991 के तहत जो धार्मिक स्थल आते हैं उन स्थलों पर लोअर कोर्ट दखल नहीं दे सकता। मैं नहीं कह रहा हूं मैडम, जस्टिस जकी उल्ला खान साहब कह रहे हैं। दूसरी चीज, ये जो विष्णु जैन जी बैठे हुए हैं, जिस दिन क्या नाम है ये ऑर्डर हुआ है उस दिन छुट्टी थी, गवर्नमेंट हॉलीडे थे, और बार का लोअर कोर्ट बार का वो आदेश था कि आज के दिन कोई जजमेंट नहीं आ सकता है। बिना वकील के सुने एक एप्लीकेशन पर क्या नाम है फौरन जजमेंट दे दिया गया। एक पक्षी
नहीं
दूसरे
तो आप
लोग
कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? आप कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं? आप कह रहे हैं वाराणसी का कोर्ट भी गलत था, सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी गलत था जिसने स्टे नहीं किया। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी कहा आज शिवलिंग को प्रोटेक्शन मिलनी चाहिए। उदय माहुरकर, you know, when the matter is in court, they will say that they are the ones who go by the constitution. It is the government which doesn't go by constitution. It is the BJP that breaks the constitution. Yet they will come here and say, oh, the court said this, it was a holiday. Will they decide the constitutionality or will the courts decide the constitutionality? Mr. Mahurkar.
Navika, I want to take this debate further. I entirely agree with Dr. Sambit Patra that this debate is very artificial and unreal. We have to go very deep into it. You see, India was divided, partitioned on the demand of a section of Muslims. And it was a vast section. 1945-46 elections, total voting was less, but 87% of the total Muslims who voted for Jinnah, Muslim League, and therefore for Pakistan. So after having taken Pakistan from India, you see, you have to position yourself in a very different way. You know, you can't go on demanding, and you can't, you know, the kind of demands they are making are very unfortunate. Nobody from the Hindu side, except maybe a small fringe, wants to create a situation of anarchy. But then let us look at the act which forbade reopening of places of worship. It was flawed when it was enacted after independence, and it was flawed in 1991 too. Why did it not include, apart from Ayodhya, Kashi and Mathura also? Against thousands of temples, lakhs of temples destroyed during the medieval period, Hindus were demanding only 3 places. See the situation for the majority community. Their motherland is partitioned on the demand of a vast section of minority community. And thereafter, even in partitioned India, they can't have their 3 main places of worship. I mean, there cannot be a greater injustice to the Hindus of this country, to the majority of this country. So this debate is much larger. There is no sense of atonement on the part of Muslims. You know, the fact that thousands and lakhs of temples were destroyed is a fact of history. Even very I would say balanced historians like V.D. Mahajan, they have given a very moving description of the temple destruction during the medieval period. During when Lodhis were ruling, Tughlaqs were ruling. Aurangzeb came much later. Khaljis were ruling, you know. So after that, there has to be, if you know, for religious reconciliation, there has to be a sense of there has to be a sense of self-introspection on both the sides.
Absolutely,
there is no self-introspection on the side of Muslims.
That is required,
the vast majority of the Muslims.
Because the Hindus had asked for three sites in one breath.
So
Ayodhya, Ram Janmabhoomi, Kashi.
Unreal. The basic issue is the attitude of the Indian Muslims. I am prepared to, given that there are Muslims who are liberal and who would go along with our view. But then vast majority believe that want us to believe that nothing happened during the medieval period. This Kashi Vishwanath Mosque is so deeply connected with Shivaji's vision. Before he died, he told his followers that we have to do Jinodar of Kashi Vishwanath temple. Bajirao won. Bajirao Peshwa also, when he died, he could not do it. He said that then in 1750, Balaji Bajirao's son, then Madharao Peshwa, Balaji Bajirao's son, all talk about Jinodar of the Kashi Vishwanath temple. And here we are holding a debate. We are running a debate on whether the temple was broken or not.
Sir, what about Jaswantrao Holkar in
further evidence required? What is required is a sense of atonement, a sense of self-introspection on the part of the Muslim community. Navika.
Mr. Mujibur Rahman, would you want to respond? Would you want to respond?
The 1991 Act.
Yes.
The act which was enacted after independence on the places of worship is highly flawed. It should have given at least three places open. Left 3 places open.
Now let me respond.
Ayodhya,
Navika,
Mathura
now
and
let me
Kashi
respond.
Vishwanath. Yes.
All right. Mujibur Rahman is responding, and Lokesh Jindal and Anand Ranganathan want to come in. Mujibur Rahman first.
He's saying that the place. Yes, he's saying that places of worship is brought upon him because it's against his faith and belief. This country will not run according to your faith and belief, but according to the law of the land. What Supreme Court has said about Places of Worship Act, Supreme Court has said, yes, it is the very essential part of a state to hold a secular character. Yes, this act should be in place and should be in working and should be adopted to keep mental peace in the society, and the historical wrongs cannot be remedied, and history and historical wrongs cannot be used to suppress the present and the future of the nation. These are the remarks of the Supreme Court about these Places of Worship Act.
But laws can change. Laws, you know, were made in a certain time. The BJP has walked out then. Why can't they change the law today? Is a question. Because today you are questioning the lower court, you are questioning the Supreme Court, yet you will selectively quote the Supreme Court कि उन्होंने तब 1991 के बारे में ये कहा था. And Dr. Anand Ranganathan, is the Constitution, are the courts going to be seen absolutely, as per their own suitability, or are they going to see all of this in a proper perspective? Because when the Supreme Court calls it a Shivling, they have a problem. And then the court is not fair to them. The court is not listening to them. The Varanasi court is not behaving the way it should. But otherwise, they will say Supreme Court has said 1991 Act is a very important act for maintaining secularism.
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to all my esteemed panelists. I have been waiting very patiently for half an hour. मैंने अपने मुंह से चू नहीं निकाला है, so I humbly request my fellow panelists to not interject me. Thank you very much. I just need a couple of minutes because it's a very important issue and this is a wonderful debate. Thank you so much. Navika, the 1991 Places of Worship Act, the exclusive control of Hindu temples by the government, and now this Gyanvapi Kashi Vishwanath issue confirms that Hindus are second-class citizens in this country. There is no doubt about it. Let us be very open. Let us be very frank. This is the fact. अगर आपको justice के लिए Supreme Court disallow करे कि historical injustice को हम हटाना चाहते हैं, हम legal route ढूंढ रहे हैं, हम किसी भी मस्जिद को destroy नहीं करना चाहते, हम आपके पास आना चाहते हैं, अगर वो दरवाजा भी बंद कर दें इस country में, तो इस country में Hindus second-class citizens हैं. Let us accept it. Number two, I have to say this. कि अभी तक आई एम नॉट बीइंग पैट्रोनाइजिंग बट नाविका अभी तक आधे घंटे की डिबेट है. आई एम अफ्रेड इट्स बीन वेरी इमोशनल एंड इफ देयर इज वन थिंग दैट हैज नो प्लेस इन अ कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ इट इज इमोशन. वो एक मंदिर की तरह है जहां आप चप्पल इमोशंस की तरह अपने चप्पल उतार के मंदिर में घुसते हैं ना, वैसे ही कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ में दो चीजें डिसाइड करती हैं कौन जीतेगा कौन हारेगा, साइंस और एविडेंस. और उस पे वजूद पे मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि आई एम अफ्रेड द हिंदूज एंड द वेरी गुड मिस्टर जैन हैज वॉक्ड राइट इनटू द ट्रैप सेट बाय देम बाय हाईलाइटिंग दिस इशू ऑफ शिवलिंग. अरे भाई शिवलिंग है कि नहीं है, इट इज इमटेरियल. द फैक्ट ऑफ द मैटर इज दैट दिस प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप शुड बी हैंडेड ओवर टू द हिंदूज. देयर इज नो डाउट. मसीर आलमगिरी में कह रखा है कि भाई काशी विश्वनाथ टेंपल जो कि तोडरमल ने बनाया था, उससे पहले मान सिंह ने, उससे पहले हिस्टोरिक था, वो औरंगजेब ने तोड़वाया था. ये फैक्ट है, औरंगजेब की बायोग्राफी में लिखा गया है, सबने एक्सेप्ट किया है. वो प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप एक्ट जो है, वो प्लेस ऑफ वर्शिप हिंदूज को जाना चाहिए. अब ये फाउंटेन है कि शिवलिंग है? अब मैं आपको बताता हूं साइंस और टेक्निकल। नाविका, देयर इज अ थिंग कॉल्ड ट्यूरिन श्राउड। For 1000 years, it was believed that that was the shroud that was wrapped, that Jesus Christ was wrapped in before his resurrection. Until carbon dating was done in 1988, it was found out that it is only 600 years old. That is how science and facts destroy emotions. लेकिन यहां पे अनफॉर्चुनेटली कार्बन डेटिंग नहीं कर सकते, और आप रेडियो डेटिंग करोगे पत्थर की तो मिलियंस ऑफ ईयर ओल्ड निकलेगा। तो प्रूफ क्या है कि ये शिवलिंग है? इसके लिए आर्कियोलॉजिकल प्रूफ चाहिए, टेक्सचुअल प्रूफ चाहिए। आप इमोशंस पे नहीं जा सकते। आप ये भले ही कह दें एज ए बिलीवर ऑफ फेथ कि हाँ ये बाबा मिल गए, लेकिन आई एम अफ्रेड कोर्ट विल नॉट। एंड लेट मी अगेन टेल यू, द अयोध्या जजमेंट इज नॉट बेस्ड ऑन फेथ एज मेनी मुस्लिम्स एंड ओवैसी आर सेइंग। इट इज बेस्ड ऑन कॉन्क्रीट एविडेंस बाय द ASI। प्रणाना मिला, हिंदू ओरिजिन ऑफ वर्शिप मिला, और जब अयोध्या जजमेंट आ गई उसके 6 महीने बाद जब खुदाई शुरू हुई, you know what was found? Vishnu, Krishna, Ram, Shivling, everything was unearthed. So all those fraud historians, D.N. Jha, Habib, सब के सब झूठ बोल रहे थे कि ये तो हिंदू प्लेस ऑफ ओरिजिन का है ही नहीं। So that's what I'm saying. The justice will be meted out only on the basis of science and facts. अगर आप इस ट्रैप में घुस जाएंगे कि ये शिवलिंग है कि नहीं है, तो इसमें आप हार गए हैं। You have to reclaim this. Hindus have to reclaim this because the writing is there. It is a fact. It was not a masjid. It was a temple. It was broken and a masjid over just 30 seconds. जो ये मेरे मुस्लिम यहाँ पे भाई बैठे हुए हैं, मैं इनको एक बात बताना चाहता हूं कि कोई ऐसा हिस्टोरिकल मस्जिद का एग्जाम्पल दीजिए जो कि तोड़कर उस पे मंदिर बनाया गया हो। एक भी दे सकते हैं? मैं आपको 44,000 दे सकता हूं। सीताराम गोयल ने कैटलॉग किया है कि मंदिर को डिस्ट्रॉय करके उस पे अदर रिलीजियस स्ट्रक्चर बनाया। आप एक हिस्टोरिकल मस्जिद बता दीजिए अगर आपके पास है कि किसी हिंदू किंग ने मस्जिद को तोड़ के, एक सेकेंड, किसी हिंदू किंग ने मस्जिद जो कि, एक मिनट प्लीज लिसन टू मी, बाबरी मस्जिद टेंपल को तोड़ के बनाई गई थी। आप एक ऐसा एग्जांपल दीजिए जो कि मस्जिद बनाई गई हो, किसी को नहीं तोड़ा हो। मस्जिद बनाई, उसको किसी हिंदू राजा ने तोड़ा और मंदिर बनाया। अगर एक एग्जांपल दे दें, मैं कल आपके साथ जाऊंगा सुप्रीम कोर्ट और आपके साथ लड़ाई लड़ूंगा टू गिव दैट मस्जिद बैक टू यू। एक एग्जांपल दीजिए, वन
बताइए। इस देश में कहीं पर भी ऐसा कोई मंदिर है जो मस्जिद तोड़ के बना हो?
देखिए
एक एग्जांपल दो।
देखिए अभी सवाल ये है कि ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट को भी नकार देंगे। अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अपने जजमेंट में ये माना है कि मंदिर तोड़कर मस्जिद नहीं बना, हमें ऐसा कोई साक्ष्य नहीं मिला। सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये मानेंगे नहीं, ये बिल्कुल नहीं मानेंगे। मुझे पता था ये बिल्कुल नहीं मानेंगे। आप चुप रहिए, मेरी बात सुनिए, चुप रहिए।
सुप्रीम कोर्ट का जजमेंट कोट कर रहे हैं आनंद रंगनाथ।
ये बहुत झूठ हो गया। लेट मी कोट फ्रॉम द सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट।
नहीं, आपने एक मुद्दा उठाया, आपने एक मुद्दा उठाया, उसका जवाब फिर मैं आपके पास आऊंगा। आनंद रंगनाथन,
ये गलत है।
You know, can you read out the verdict of the Supreme Court which says to the contrary?
Read out the November. Yes, thank you. और ये नाविका, आप इनको अनफॉर्चुनेटली म्यूट नहीं कर सकती क्योंकि ये स्टूडियो में आया जानबूझ के, लेकिन मेरी इनसे रिक्वेस्ट है, मेरे मुस्लिम भाई, आप प्लीज 2 मिनट शांत रहें।
कितने होते हैं भाई साहब?
सुप्रीम कोर्ट
2 और 2 कितने होते हैं?
मैं आपको सुप्रीम कोर्ट
2 और 2 कितने होते हैं ये बताइए।
अरे सुन लीजिए ना,
2 और 2 कितने होते हैं बताइए ना।
आप चाहें तो 22 हो जाएंगे, आप चाहें तो 4 हो जाएंगे, लेकिन सुन लीजिए,
बता दूं,
सुन लीजिए।
लेकिन वो जब होंगे जब आप मानेंगे। आप कहेंगे 5 होते हैं तो मानता ही नहीं।
इसलिए स्टूडियो आए,
सुन तो लीजिए।
आप किसी भी चीज को नहीं मानेंगे,
इसीलिए ये स्टूडियो आए हैं। आप समझ नहीं रही है नाविका, इसीलिए ये स्टूडियो है क्योंकि आप इनको म्यूट नहीं कर सकती। अब मैं सुप्रीम कोर्ट जजमेंट कोट कर रहा हूं और आपका चैलेंज ये है कि आप इनको शांत रखिए प्लीज। लेट मी कोट।
मुझे भी म्यूट कर दीजिए, इन्हें भी म्यूट कर दीजिए। आनंद रंगनाथ,
आप बोलिए, डिबेट आप ही कर लीजिए। पूरी डिबेट आप
नाविका, अब विक्टिम कार्ड पे आ गई है, बोलने नहीं देंगे मुझे पता
पूरी
नहीं।
डिबेट आप कीजिए।
1 मिनट
आपने अभी 10 मिनट बोला है, अभी भी आपका पेट नहीं भरा बोलने से।
देखिए नाविका,
हमें बोलने नहीं देंगे। अगर 2 आदमी मुस्लिम पक्षकारों से बैठे
कोर्ट
आप
ने
उसको बोलने नहीं देंगे?
आपने कहा सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कोई साक्ष्य नहीं मिले,
मुझे पूरी बात तो करने दीजिए ना।
वो जवाब दे रहे हैं, फिर आप बोलिएगा।
जवाब दीजिए बाद में, मुझे पूरी बात करने दीजिए अपनी।
अच्छा चलिए, आप पूरी बात
आप अपनी बात पूरी करने दीजिए।
डेमोक्रेसी आनंद रंगनाथन,
पूरी बात करने दीजिए। मैं आधे घंटे से खामोश बैठा हूँ, सबको सुन रहा हूँ, मैं बीच में नहीं बोला।
ठीक है, आप अपनी बात कहिए।
देखिए बात सुनिए,
आपके पास 60 सेकंड है।
एक झूठ बोला जा रहा है बार बार कि औरंगजेब ने इस मस्जिद को तोड़ा है। मैं हिस्टोरिकल बताता हूं आपको कि ये मस्जिद जलालुद्दीन मोहम्मद अकबर से भी पहली मस्जिद है। ये हिस्टोरिकल पॉइंट है। जब ये जलालुद्दीन मोहम्मद अकबर से पहली मस्जिद है तो औरंगजेब ने मंदिर कहां से तोड़ दिया भाई साहब? दूसरे अभी स्टोरी डिबेट शुरू होने से पहले एक महात्मा जी आचार्य जी कह रहे थे कि साहब जिस वक्त आक्रांता औरंगजेब ने हमला किया तो वहां के जो मुख्य पुजारी थे वो शिवलिंग को लेकर गंगा में कूद गए थे। जब शिवलिंग को लेकर गंगा में कूद गए थे, ये वजूखाने में कहां से मिल गया? मुझे हिस्टोरिकल पॉइंट में आपको बता रहा हूं, मैं आपको बिला वजह की बातें नहीं कर रहा हूं। दूसरी बात, 1919 का जो वर्शिप एक्ट है उससे पहले एक केस था दीन मोहम्मद का केस, जो 1936 में लगा था और 1937 में उसका फैसला आया। मैं आपको जजमेंट दिखा सकता हूं जिसमें कोर्ट ने बाकायदा ऑर्डर किया है कि यह जगह हनफी वक्फ बोर्ड की है और इसमें सालों से नमाज होती आई है और इसमें साल में एक बार उर्स भी होता था। यह मैं आपको कोर्ट का जजमेंट दिखा रहा हूं, अगर आपकी जानकारी ना हो तो मैं आपको भेज दूंगा, समझ लीजिएगा आप इस बात को। दूसरी बात, याचिकाकर्ता ने विष्णु शंकर जैन बैठे हो तो सुन लें, याचिकाकर्ता ने इसमें लिखा है, जो केस नंबर है 610/91, उन्होंने लिखा है कि इस मस्जिद का जो वक्फ के अंदर रजिस्ट्रेशन है जिसका नंबर 100 है, यह गलत तरीके से रजिस्ट्रेशन हुआ है। यानी मस्जिद को माना है, रजिस्ट्रेशन वो गलत बता रहे हैं। याचिकाकर्ता खुद कह रहा है कि मस्जिद है और आप कह रहे हैं कि शिवलिंग मिल गया, बाबा मिल गया।
आप कहें कि वजू की जगह में गोल जगह होती है, वहां बैठ के लोग करते हैं तो हम मान ले, लेकिन आप नहीं मानेंगे कि नंदी जी जिस तरफ देख रहे हैं उसी तरफ शिवलिंग होती है। ये तो भाई, ये तो एक मिनट डॉक्टर आनंद, नहीं, मैं भी आपको दिखा सकती हूँ, हजारों, मैं भी दिखा सकती हूँ। ये बंगाल में मस्जिद की फाउंटेन है और ये है नखोड़ा मस्जिद, और यहाँ पर फाउंटेन ऐसे ऊपर है, वहां पर राउंड नहीं बना हुआ, अंदर नहीं है फाउंटेन। और अगर मैं अजमेर शरीफ दिखाऊं तो ये अजमेर शरीफ दरगाह की फाउंटेन है, ये ऊपर की तरफ है। ये फाउंटेन उस फाउंटेन की तरह नहीं है। चलिए आनंद रंगनाथन,
सैकड़ों साल से
हमारा ऑडियो काट दीजिए। आनंद रंगनाथन, कोर्ट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट
मंदिर तोड़ देता है और शिवलिंग को बाकी रखेगा।
यस, थैंक यू नाविका, थैंक यू। जैसे वक्त गुजरता गया इनके झूठ बढ़ते चले गए, अब एक नहीं मुझे इनके 2 झूठ रिवर्ट करने पड़ेंगे। पर पहले एक झूठ इनका, जो ये कह रहे थे कि सुप्रीम कोर्ट अयोध्या जजमेंट ने कहीं नहीं कहा है कि मंदिर के ऊपर मस्जिद बनी। लेट मी कोट फ्रॉम द सुप्रीम कोर्ट राइट नाउ। 1, the underlying
कोर्ट ने 4
रशीदी जी,
नाविका,
बोलने आप बीच में बोलेंगे,
तोड़कर मस्जिद नहीं
रहने दो नाविका।
प्लीज कट द स्टूडियो ऑडियो।
नाविका, कैन आई प्लीज कंटिन्यू?
यस,
मैं चला जाऊं?
थैंक यू। नंबर 1, दिस इज फ्रॉम द सुप्रीम कोर्ट अयोध्या जजमेंट।
मैंने अपने आप को भी कट, आप तथ्यों से क्यों भाग रहे हैं? आप सुन लीजिए, आप भी तो सच सुनना नहीं चाहते, आप इसीलिए जा रहे हैं, आप इसीलिए जा रहे हैं क्योंकि आप भी
डर क्यों रहे हो?
इसलिए जा रहे हो कि झूठ को
डर क्यों रहे हैं भाई? 10 मिनट बोला आपने,
झूठ पर बातें हो रही हैं।
नहीं, झूठ पर आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट, आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट की दलील सुन लीजिए, आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट
की हिफाजत की है,
सर्दी नहीं है,
100 साल से हिफाजत कर रहे हैं वुजू खाने में, ये लॉजिक बनता है?
नहीं, आप
झूठ पर झूठ बोले जाए, हम सुनते रहे बैठकर,
तो कोर्ट में भी नहीं सुनेंगे, कोर्ट में भी नहीं सुनेंगे।
कोर्ट को कौन सुनना है? कोर्ट की प्रोसीडिंग से पहले आपने कह दिया बाबा आगे,
तो कोर्ट
कौन मान रहा है?
तो आप नहीं, तो आप
रिपोर्ट सबमिट नहीं हुई और आपने कह दिया बाबा मिल गए, कौन मान रहा है कोर्ट?
तो आप आप तय करेंगे क्या? नहीं नहीं, तो आप उनकी आप तौकीर साहब की बात करें, आप तौकीर साहब की बात करें जो आज तक अयोध्या को भी नहीं मान रहे, उनको तो चुप करा लीजिए। नहीं नहीं, आप उनको तो चुप करा नहीं पा रहे हैं। आप यहाँ पर बाबा मिल गए से आपको तकलीफ हो रही है, क्यों तकलीफ हो रही है भाई?
कोर्ट को आप लोग नहीं मान रहे।
75 सालों से हमने भी तो सब्र किया, आप भी थोड़ा सा सब्र।
हमने भी सब्र किया। हम 100 साल से आपके मुताबिक आपने कहा कि 100 हमारा जो शिवलिंग है 100 साल से हम रख रहे हैं और मंदिर।
आनंद रंगनाथन प्लीज कोर्ट द सुप्रीम कोर्ट में
पर्दा गिरा दीजिए।
गलत बातें कर रहे हैं आप लोग।
चलिए, रशीदी साहब सुनना ही नहीं चाहते, अपनी बात कहेंगे और किसी की सुनेंगे नहीं। आनंद रंगनाथ।
Yes, Navika, you must understand that for them, Sharia is above Supreme Court or Constitution. It's a very simple thing. इसमें घबराने की और हमें नाराज होने की कोई बात नहीं है, सच है भाई. They believe that there is only one God and that is the reason why nothing else is possible. It's a supremacist ideology. Please understand. Now let me come and expose his lie. Let me quote from the Supreme Court Ayodhya judgment. Number 1. The underlying structures at the Supreme Court was not of Islamic origin. 2. Archaeological finds in the area of excavation reveal significant traces of successive civilizations commencing with the age of the North Black polished ware traceable to the 2nd century BC. 3. On a preponderance of probabilities, the archaeological findings on the nature of the underlying structure indicate it to be of Hindu religious origin dating to the 12th century AD. 4. The mosque in dispute was constructed upon the foundation of a pre-existing structure. 5. The layered excavation at the site of excavation has also revealed the existence of a circular shrine together with Makara Pranala indicative of Hindu worship dating back to the 8th to 10th century. 6. The underlying structure which provided the foundation of the mosque together with its architecture features and recoveries are suggestive of a Hindu religious origin. 7. The conclusion which has been drawn by the ASI that the nature of the underlying structure and the recoveries which have been made would on stylistic grounds suggest the existence of temple structure dating back to the 12th century AD would on balance of probabilities be a conclusion which is supported by evidence. 8. Finally, the 1891 ASI report was also cited by one of the Supreme Court judges, and it unequivocally stated that Mir Khan built a masjid on the Janam Sthanam during the reign of Babur, which still bears his name. Quote, this old temple must have been a fine one, end quote. ये इनका एक झूठ निकल गया। अब दूसरा झूठ बोलूं कि उसकी ताकत है कि नहीं?
वो तो चले गए, सच सुनने की ताकत उनमें है नहीं। लेकिन मैं लोकेश जिंदल जी से पूछना चाहती हूँ, मिस्टर लोकेश जिंदल, what prompts the Congress party, number 1, to make a law like the 1991 Places of Worship Act law and then only include Ayodhya and ignore both Kashi and Mathura in it? Number 1, appeasement, vote bank politics. And number 2, today, when all Hindus, and it's a question of faith, it's a question, you can bring in the courts, yes, the courts have a role to play over here, but basically it has to do with emotions, with faith. Why would the Congress go out of its way to call it a fountain and not the Shivling? I want to ask you, what is it in the DNA of the Congress party that becomes a Chunavi Hindu whenever there are, requirements of the vote banks, but the rest of the time to hurt Hindus as much as they can, even if the matter is pending before the Supreme Court?
Good evening, Navika. I was hearing from quite a long time. Now when Dr. Anand Ranganathan was talking about northern black polished ware, let me remind him that by that time period there was no Puranic Shaivism as such and no Shivlings were
built. Why don't you answer the questions I'm asking you?
Secondly, I'm just coming to that. It was Pushyamitra Shung who was known for destroying Buddhist stoops and building temples over that. Following this, we saw that there are various examples whereby Buddhist religious institutions were destroyed and temples were constructed. For example, Durga temple at Aihole. Even at Mahabodhi temple, there was a dispute that a Hindu shrine is being maintained in the Buddhist shrine. And when we are talking about medieval times, let me tell you, it was not just Aurangzeb. Jaswantrao Holkar had invaded Mewar, and there were Marathas who had destroyed the Shringeri temple, which was rebuilt by Tipu Sultan. So when I'm talking about history, please get your facts correct. And secondly, there were Muslim rulers who had built shrines. Zain al-Abidin was one of the Badshah in Kashmir who had built Hindu temples.
Oh my
Now, when I'm
Lokesh
talking about all this form, there was always
just in
unity
case you
diversity.
thought you were a professor of history, we are not here to
Complete
discuss history of the entire country over the last 2000 years. We are here to discuss Gyanvapi, and on Gyanvapi, would you want to say something? Would you want to say why 1991 did not include Kashi and Mathura? Question number one. And two, why would you call what the Supreme Court, and I'm telling you, the Supreme Court order that has just been uploaded on the Supreme Court website, it calls very clearly, in order to obviate any dispute on the meaning and content of the order, trial judge, the operation ambit of the order dated 16th May shall stand restricted to the extent that the district magistrate Varanasi shall ensure that the area where the Shivlinga is stated to have been found is as indicated in the order shall be duly protected. They will call it the stated Shivlinga, but you will call it a fountain. Why, sir?
I'll tell you, madam, in medieval India, there were araghat and ghati yantra. These were instruments that were kept inside wells so as to draw water from the well. If any one of the so-called historians know anything about how technology was used at that point of time, would know it. In fact, that entire
Sambit Patra ji, इनको science of fountains and history of fountains and wuzu सब कुछ पता है, बस इनको शिवलिंग के बारे में नहीं पता है. भगवान इन्हें माफ कर दे. जवाब दे दीजिए आप इनको.
See, Navika ji, as far as the Congress party is concerned, till they have the fountainhead of all problems, Rahul Gandhi, what else do you expect out of them? What do you expect? The Congress spokesperson will come and say, oh, Baba mil gaye.
Who has destroyed the entire economy. When you can have a chaiwala taking care of the country.
I never spoke in middle of you, sir. I never interrupted you, sir. Can you please, Navika, I mean, this is not fair, Navika. We should not be shouting. I never shouted when you spoke, sir. Navika, that's a few core questions that I want to ask. Number one, just as Mujibur Rahman present over here, Mujib Rahman present over here can never be what can never be called as Venkat Raman. He can never be named as Christine as Venkat Raman. Just as Mr. Sadiq, who left, can never be called as Ram Murthy. How is it that a masjid is called as Gyanvapi, a Sanskrit name? Knowledge, the well of knowledge. How is it that the masjid was called as Gyanvapi, just as the controversial structure in Ayodhya was called as Ram Janmabhoomi Masjid? How is it? I mean, of course, because it has a history attached to it, because there is a wealth of knowledge around it, and we all know what it is. That's the reason as to why it is called as Gyanvapi Masjid. That means the knowledge of the well of knowledge, number one. Number two, you talk about the court today. Astonishingly, I don't know how many of you read the Times of India day before yesterday. What was the headline day before yesterday in Times of India? The headline was, Judge Mr. Ravi, the one who in fact gave the orders for the survey, he is fearful about his own life. He is fearful about the life of his family. His family is under great deal of stress today in Uttar Pradesh. Why? I mean, why? If you believe in court, if the Muslim side says that they have complete faith in the Constitution, in the Samvidhan, in Baba Saheb Ambedkar, in the judiciary of India, why is it that the judges of this country have to be fearful of this side? If you pass a judgment on triple talaq, you are fearful of your life. If you pass a judgment on hijab, then you are fearful of your life. And today, yet again, Mr. Ravi, the judge, is fearful of his life. That means it is my way or highway, as far as most of you are concerned. Thirdly, Mr. Owaisi and many of you say that you have complete faith on judiciary. I mean, right now you were saying, Mr. Rahman, that you have complete faith in judiciary. Remember when the judiciary gave its verdict on triple talaq, the Supreme Court spoke about triple talaq. Mr. Owaisi came out and said, ये कोर्ट कौन होती है कि मुसलमान कैसे निकाह करेगा और कैसे तलाक देगा, ये मुसलमान तय करेगा, ये कोर्ट नहीं तय करेगा. This is exactly what Mr. Owaisi says. So please don't in fact sound all your hollow and bunkum talks about you respect the constitution of the country, you respect the judiciary, and you're going to follow the judiciary. Well, yes, I hope you follow the judiciary, but remember, the history of this country is thousands and thousands years old. The one who cannot respect the history, the one who cannot respect the sentiment of this country, I'm sorry, will never be respectful towards the constitution.
Absolutely, there is just now the tip of the iceberg. I wish I could give you some more time, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, but I'm completely out of time.